Have you ever felt a deep, unexplainable connection to nature, like you carry the memory of a mountain or a forest somewhere inside you? Today we explore past life regression hypnosis and how your soul graduated from the school of minerals and plants before becoming human. Imagine the entire universe is like one giant school, a huge school with many classrooms and levels, and your soul, yes, your soul, has passed through every single one of those classrooms before arriving where you are today, a human being, conscious, able to think and feel. There is an ancient wisdom, rediscovered through spiritual channels in the 20th century, that tells us everything in the universe, from a pebble on the road to the stars above, is consciousness, just expressed at different levels of complexity. The raw material, channeled in the 1980s through researcher Carla Ruckert, calls these levels densities, not separate dimensions, but steps in the evolution of consciousness, each one more subtle, more luminous than the last. And here is the amazing part. Before becoming human, your soul once lived as a rock, a plant, and an animal. Not as a metaphor, literally. Everything started with the elements: fire that burns, water that flows, earth that stands still, wind that blows. These are not just dead matter. They are the very first form of consciousness in this physical reality, a simple consciousness, without thoughts or wishes, just to exist. Think about a rock. It doesn't run, it doesn't dream, it doesn't make plans, but it is here. It exists. And through that existence, it learns something very important, the lesson of simply being. That being present in time and space is already something extraordinary. The first density is the consciousness of the elements: fire, air, water, earth. It learns one single lesson: to be. The raw material. Dolores Cannon, the American hypnotherapist who regressed thousands of patients into past lives, discovered something fascinating. Some people, in a deep trance, remembered being minerals or elements, not a human memory, something far older, like an echo from before time. One patient described the feeling of being completely still, but deeply aware of everything happening around me, as though the earth itself was breathing. From stone and element, life was born. A tiny little sprout pushing up through the soil doesn't know it exists, but it wants something: light. This is the great revolution of the second density, the birth of desire. Simply put, I move, I grow, I reach. Plants are the first great lesson of wanting. They don't think, but they feel. Modern science now confirms that plants communicate through their roots, that they respond to music, that they get stressed when cut. Their group consciousness, all the trees in a forest connected through an underground web of fungi, is exactly what the raw material calls the group consciousness of the second density. In the second density, consciousness begins to slowly individualize. Plants function as a whole. More evolved animals are already on the threshold of self-awareness. The raw material. Animals take this lesson even further. A dog doesn't just want, it feels. It loves, it gets excited, it suffers. Dogs, horses, dolphins, those animals that live closest to humans, are, according to the raw material, right on the edge of the transition into the third density. Living close to humans actually speeds up their evolution of consciousness. Dolores Cannon regressed patients who remembered lives as animals, most often as herd animals or forest creatures. The descriptions were astonishing. I didn't think in words. I felt colors, smells, danger, safety. It was just now. Another patient described a life as a tree hundreds of years old. I felt every season like a breath. I was slow, but deeply connected to everything. And then, something miraculous happened. A question appeared. Who am I? This is the third density, the human lesson. We no longer simply exist, like a stone. We no longer just grow and feel by instinct, like a plant or an animal. We look at ourselves. We ask questions about meaning, about death, about love, about God. We are the only beings on earth who know they will die. And yet we are also the only ones who can choose to love in spite of that knowledge. The raw material calls this the choice of polarity. Every human soul must choose, across its lifetimes in the third density, a fundamental direction, the path of service to others, love, compassion, giving, or the path of service to self, control, separation, domination. There is no neutral path. Every small decision you make every day. Are you kind or selfish? Do you help or look away? Do you love or judge? Is a vote for one of these two paths. The third density is the density of choice. It is short, intense, and enormously important. Every single moment counts. The raw material. Dolores Cannon added an extraordinary perspective through her thousands of regression sessions. Her patients, in deep hypnotic trance, spoke from a perspective much larger than their own personality, from what she called the higher self. And the higher self always said the same thing. I chose to come here to learn. I chose this life, these parents, these hardships, not as punishment, but as a lesson. One of Cannon's patients described the moment just before being born. I was in a place of light. I chose to come down. I knew it would be hard, but I chose it anyway, because the love I was about to experience was worth every difficulty. Cannon discovered that many people, when regressed beyond their very first human lifetime, entered a strange state. They no longer found past lives as humans, but something else entirely. Some described sensations of being pure energy, light, sound. Others fell into complete silence and said, I am everything. I am nothing. I am stone. I am tree. I am wind. Cannon interpreted these as memories of the soul's pre-human stages, the exact equivalent of densities 1 and 2 from the raw material, even though she used different words. Her conclusion: the soul is not born human. It becomes human after a long and patient apprenticeship inside simpler forms of existence. The soul did not come from nowhere. It came from a long, patient journey through every form of life. Dolores Cannon. This is why you sometimes feel an inexplicable pull toward a mountain, a forest, or the sea. It may not be just romantic feeling. It may be a real memory, the echo of a time when you actually were that form of existence. We are, as a species, approaching the end of the third density. According to the raw material, Earth itself is in the process of shifting into the fourth density, a reality based on love and understanding rather than fear and separation. And the souls who have chosen, across their many lifetimes, the path of compassion, are ready to make that step together with the planet. It is not one big dramatic choice you make once. It is a small choice every single day. Do you treat someone with kindness when they frustrate you? Are you honest even when it's uncomfortable? Are you present, attentive, connected? Or are you lost in fear and ego? Dolores Cannon said we are living in the most fascinating and important times in this planet's history. that millions of souls chose to be born right now, precisely to be part of this transition. That some of us are ancient souls, with thousands of lifetimes behind us, having passed through fire, water, stone, plant, and animal, who came now to remember who they truly are. You are a being of light who has temporarily forgotten that it is light. Your mission is not to become something. It is to remember what you already are. Dolores Cannon. So the next time you touch a rock or stop under an old tree and feel something you cannot quite explain, maybe it is not your imagination. Maybe it is a reunion. Your soul recognizing a form it once lived in long ago before it became human. We are stone that learned to think. We are plant that learned to love. We are animal that chose consciousness. We are human trying to become light. And the journey goes on.